Hey, it's Nikki with FM99. I am here with Matt of Dinosaur Pile-Up. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm fine, thank you, Nikki. I'm very well. I'm at home, just about to go to the studio and stuff, and wanted to catch this call with you. So yeah, everything's good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here chatting with you.
Awesome. Yeah. How is it's really in London today for once, it's beautifully sunny. So that's kind of a trip for me. So
has it not been sunny?
No, this last week it's kind of been rainy and stuff, which has been fine because I've been in studio writing, like I'm working on loads of new material at the minute. So being in studio when it's rainy and stuff like that is kind of okay, but it's harder to get in studio when it's beautiful outside.
I can feel that. Yeah. Is it as hot there as it is here? It's been like what feels like 100 degrees here for all of July.
Yeah, it's pretty hot today, but I mean, I'm sure with you guys it's like way hotter.
It's warm for sure.
Yeah.
How have you been with all of the craziness happening in the world?
Yeah, I've been, like everyone, I guess, okay, and just kind of dealing with it, the whole kind of lack of shows and not being able to play is a real bummer. Obviously, and like everyone's kind of in all walks of life, like everyone's kind of going through it right now. Like obviously, with the virus, like people's jobs are at stake, and there's a lot of pressure, and so it's not easy for anyone right now, I guess. But speaking specifically, specifically from music and from my point of view in the music industry and stuff, it's the whole lack of shows is really tricky, and it's just weird because we don't know when that's gonna change. And obviously, I'm kind of using that. I'm trying to find opportunity in this situation. Therefore, like I'm writing and recording a lot and trying to, kind of building what would be the new record, I guess. But it's strange even writing new material because it's like, well, when are we going to play this? Like how, it's just really it's a really strange situation. But I'm staying positive and everything like that.
I think that's all we can do because I mean, being on the radio side of things, I mean, we'd be how many concerts deep right now, and it's like everything just feels off. Like it just feels, like obviously, the craziness of the world has it weird anyway, but not being able to see bands and listen to live music and, it's torture for me personally.
Yeah. And I was with my UK booking agent yesterday. And we kind of caught up about a few things and we were talking about the whole kind of, the concept of like drive-in shows and stuff like that. And it's like, Dinosaur can't even get in our rehearsal room right now to even rehearse together and stuff. So, that's annoying as hell. But like we were talking about the idea of drive-in shows and how that would work, and needs must, like if the only way you can play a show in 6 months is a big drive-in show where everyone's in their cars, I guess that's what you'll have to do. But the concept of that, like in terms of a rock show, is just so weird. It's a bummer because what's gonna happen. We were talking about like what's gonna happen with like the idea of a mosh pit. Like how does a mosh pit work in 2021 and stuff like that. Like I don't know. It's really crazy.
Well, and I mean, I don't necessarily hate the idea of a drive-in show because I mean, at this point, it's live music, but there's something to be said about being in a crowd of people who are as passionate about the music that you're listening to as you are, and you kind of all come together. Nobody cares who you are. Nobody cares where you're from. You're there because of the love and passion of the people on stage, and it's something that you're sharing at that moment in time. And that, I just don't see how that could work if we're all sitting in our cars.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely a different take on things, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the question, like everybody, you see all over social media, you know, if this is what live shows will look like, will you go? If it turns into this, will you go? And I mean, the answer is yes. Live music is live music for me. But, you just worry. You worry about, if it's going to kind of change the dynamic. Like you said, how you can't mosh in your car.
Yeah.
I mean, you could try,
Yeah,
but
yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, they did it in Wayne's World, I
yeah,
guess, so
we
that sort of
did.
worked.
We need to go back to
Yeah. I guess, yeah, I don't know. I think, and it kind of creates new opportunities, which is kind of cool. Like, I think the whole streamed show will become, the streamed show will become part of music more than it ever has, and things like, opportunities like, for instance, like music and bands sort of performing in a virtual arena, like in games and in the virtual world. I think that will become much more of a thing, which I actually find quite exciting. Like, that's quite cool. Like, I know that's weird, like bands performing in the virtual world, performing in games and stuff like that. And sure, like, of course, that's nothing like a live show. Of course it
right.
is. Like, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But as being on the level and being aware that it is a completely different thing, I think it's a weirdly cool thing, because like that's just something that kind of didn't exist a year ago, like,
Right.
or 2 years ago, like that, and now it kind of does, and it's going to totally grow into something. So, um, stuff like that is kind of interesting. But in terms of like a live show, like, yeah, it's obviously things right now are kind of will be different,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I agree with you. I think it's cool. And while I would obviously prefer, to be in person, you kind of touched on it earlier, like, when you want to release an album, if you can't tour to kind of complete that circle, do you release the album? Whereas I think if we could be in a virtual setting, at least, with some stream shows, maybe it wouldn't be as much of a roadblock in order to release the album, you're still getting it out to people even though we can't be together in person.
Yeah, totally. It's at least some way to you know do an album justice, and give it the airing that it deserves. But tour, I don't know, being able to tour and stuff. Like, I was with when I was with my booking agent, yes, I was talking about this because a couple of his other bands were releasing records now, and it's like, and I was like, what does that look like, releasing a record now when you can't tour? Like, maybe in a year we'll be touring, I don't know, I just don't know, but like right now you literally can't tour. So I was like, what's that like that must be weird as hell, being like, yeah, we're just dropping this album, we can't tour it. So yeah, I
We're
don't know,
hoping for
like,
that.
it's so it's so strange. Like, so yeah, I don't know, it's a really weird time, and like, I've no doubt that of course we will get back to playing shows. It's just there's gonna be a lot of things that have to be worked out for, I think, and I guess, on a sort of bigger level, we have to sort of see what course the virus takes and stuff globally. But, things like the whole virtual shows and streamed shows and stuff, that's something that I can kind of get down with. Like, I want to do way more of that. Like, even seeing, like, I don't know if you saw it, but like Fever 333's live stream like a couple of weeks back was just unbelievable. And obviously they'd put like quite a lot of production into it.
Right.
But it was amazing. Like, it was totally unbelievable. So I was like, I can get down with this. That's cool as hell. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. There's goods and there's bads,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Kathleen on Facebook just commented about how bummed she is that the show was canceled because, of course, you were supposed to be here in May for our Lunatic Luau. And she
Yeah.
said, "I love you guys." I don't know if you saw her comment, but yeah, I'm horribly bummed. I mean, about all of it, but you know, we just need to get it rescheduled so you guys come back.
Hell yeah! Oh yeah, we're down. Like Lunatic Law was something we were all actually looking forward to. I mean, the whole US run we had and all the festivals that we had going on, Europe and US, like we were, and the UK, we were really stoked on this summer. So it's a real bummer, and it's just, US festivals as well are just killer for us. Like particularly being from the UK, being in Europe, like there's so many great festivals in Europe and obviously in the UK. Like in the UK specifically, like Leeds and Reading, Tea in the Park, like Glastonbury, there's loads, and then in Europe there's enormous rock festivals and stuff like that. But in the US, we just love US rock festivals because they're big and there's loads of great bands and it's usually hot. I don't know. It just we love that vibe. And yeah, I don't know. There's also loads of light beer. You guys do light beer really well, and everyone's always surprised that we like light beer. But we like Dinosaur Pile-Up as a band love like light beer because it's not heavy European beer. So kicking back at a US festival with a couple of Bud Lights, whatever, is just always just a great afternoon.
That is so fantastic because you're right. It's like opposite of the way that we think. Like I love a heavy craft beer, but maybe it's because I'm surrounded by light beer and it's opposite for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the opposite. I mean, it's for us guys, me, Mike, and Jim, it's the opposite. Like we've grown up with super heavy European beers the whole life, so
I don't feel bad for you about that, by the
kicking
way.
it backstage in some sunny, hot place with a. Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining for sure.
That's what she said. Dave said, "Heard your cover of It's Tricky, love it." Now that is a Run DMC cover that you guys did, yeah? Did you lose me?
So yeah, I lost you for a second. You kind of sounded like you were time traveling. Could you repeat that for me?
Yes, of course. Dave said, "Heard your cover of It's Tricky, love it." And I said, if I remember correctly, that is a Run DMC cover, right? You guys did? Uh-oh, did I lose you?
Okay, so I know you're asking me about the Run DMC cover of
Yes.
Tricky, but I don't know what you're asking me about it. So I'm gonna guess your question and just roll with it.
Okay.
I think so. We wrote that Run DMC cover of Tricky, which by the way is one of my favorite songs ever. I love It's Tricky. And we were asked if we wanted to do this cover by Amazon, so we spent ages trying to figure out like what we wanted to cover, what was the right song. And in the end, we were on some wild drive in the States and we put Tricky on, and Mike was in the front seat of the van and I was in the back, and he turned around to me exactly at the same time. I sort of turned to him and I was like, this is what we should be covering. And we were kind of stuck on that. So we recorded that. It's on Amazon right now, but it will be released to like everywhere, like Spotify and soon this year. And we just shot a really dope music video for it actually, like a week ago. So I'm really excited about that too. We kind of did this. I guess you would describe it as like a Beastie Boys, Missy Elliott type music video, which is funny as hell.
I love that. So when do we get the video for that song? I'm hoping you can hear me now. I'm thinking you
I
can't.
kind of can. I don't know what's happened to the connection. It's gotten kind of trippy.
Okay. If you kind of can, when will we get the video for It's Tricky? Oh, crap.
You'll get the video. I actually don't know that. Like, I'm checking this because I think you'll get it in a couple of weeks, I guess. I don't actually know.
Okay. You don't have to promise me a date. I was just curious if you knew. Can you hear me any better?
Okay, good. Yeah, a little bit. I can. I a little bit. We've switched places on my screen, which is also kind of weird.
We
We've
did
suddenly
switch
now gone
places.
to the
I'm not
opposite
quite sure how that happened. Oh, technology. See, this is why we need to be live and in person. Okay, so let's see. Facebook question. How did you come up with the band's name? It has to do with the King Kong movie, correct? The band
Nikki,
name.
I can't hear anything you're saying. It's gotten really bad.
Can you see the Facebook question below?
I'm not getting you. I know, it's so annoying, right?
All right, hang on.
Yeah, I can sort of hear like words and stuff like that.
Hold on.
I think I've lost.
I might have to type my questions to you. Can you see the Facebook questions?
I can see a question with Anne's name.
Yes.
I will tell. Okay, I'll tell that story.
Yes.
I will tell that story. The band's name came from. This was years ago because we've been playing in Dinosaur for a long time now. When that Peter Jackson version of King Kong came out and it has Jack Black in it, I went to the movies to watch that with a bunch of friends, and I mean it was so ridiculous. And there's a part in that movie when there's a dinosaur pileup. Like all these dinosaurs are like being chased or something like that, and then they all trip over and they fall down a mountain, and there's like hundreds of dinosaurs each other. And at the time, I wasn't in a band, so I just left a band previously. And when I left the cinema with everybody, I was like, I think I made a bet that I would start the next band I came up with would call Dinosaur Pile-Up. And I mean, little did I know that this band would become a thing, I guess, like 12 years later. So, you know, I kind of wish I'd maybe not made that bet, but I did. And here we are.
Well, I like it because it stands out. It's different. You still can't hear me, can you?
It is different. That's true.
Yeah. Okay, so you can hear me.
I heard a little bit. I can hear a little bit.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So you started writing your music when you were a teenager.
I hear like what music when I was a teenager?
Is that when you started writing? Is that when you started writing your music? This is the funniest interview ever.
This is like when I was a teenager?
Yes.
Did I start writing my music?
Yes.
Did I start writing my music when I was a teenager? Yes.
That's
okay.
right.
So, yeah, I guess so. I got a guitar when I was 9. I got my first guitar when I was 9 years old. And I started teaching myself and learning guitar from then. And I very quickly became completely obsessed with it. And I didn't really have a music taste then. So when I was 9, I started playing guitar, but I didn't have a music taste. So I just had these weird, you know, those kind of pop compilations you get on the front of beans and stuff. Like, I was just listening to those, and whatever my mum was playing in the car, which was a mix of like the Beatles, the Beach Boys, Rainbow. Don't know if you remember that song, Since You've Been Gone by Rainbow, like hair metal, like awesome. The Bangles, Eternal Flame, like stuff like that. So it's a mix of like rock and a mix of like pop.
Yeah.
Which is, it's still very like, that's, you know, still where I'm at. I love pop music and I love like rock and heavy metal and stuff. So, you know, I was no music bass, playing guitar at 9 years old, and then around that time I found a stack of CDs in my older brother's room, and in that stack of CDs was all the 90s alternative like classics. He just happened to have a brilliant collection of CDs at that time. So it was like Rage Against the Machine, Deftones, Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana, like all freaking hits. And I just like stole that CD collection and just spent a day just going through it on my CD player, and my mind literally exploded. Like, that sort of 6 hours of just probably the most important 6 hours of my whole life. And from then on, I was just obsessed and with like, you know, with those bands and like Zero by the Pumpkins and like all of that stuff. And I guess from that point, I started writing. I started writing my own songs, and I remember like when I was in school, I must have been like 14, 15, 13, 14, 15, around that time. I was like deep into songwriting, and I'd always have a little notebook on me, and I was always like writing down little lines and words and like that. Just literally all the time. I always had one of these little books. And I guess that was, you know, smartphones and iPhones created then. So I was using a little notebook on my phone, or I record voice memos.
Right.
But that notebook on me all the time. So like, you know, and around that time, like, you know, I was listening to Green Day and Foo Fighters and all those bands, you know, like Incubus and stuff. So I think those teen years is, yeah, like 14, 15 is when I got into writing songs, you know.
Yeah, I love that. Well, you're a phenomenal songwriter.
All right, I appreciate that. Did you ask me a question? Because if you did, I missed it.
I did. You said that you've been working on new stuff since we've been in lockdown. You're working on new music, writing new music.
Okay, something about lockdown. This is like guess the question. It's like
I know.
like
It's a game show.
Guess what conversation you're having, and I've kind of got to work it out as we go along. All I know is you've asked me. All I know is you've asked me something about lockdown. Have I been writing in lockdown? I don't know.
Yes. All right. I'm not going to.
Have I been writing in lockdown? Okay, cool. Yeah, I have. I've been writing in lockdown. I think I'm answering the right question. I'm not sure.
Yes, you are.
But yeah, I have been writing in lockdown. There's been moments of like, there's been periods of like no inspiration, no motivation. There's been periods of like extreme inspiration and innovation and stuff. And now I've kind of hit a real level. So I'm writing all the time, which is really exciting. So I'm writing a lot on my own. I'm writing a lot with a couple of friends of mine, like various people in LA and stuff, over like Zoom calls and stuff like that, which is I've never done before and is really interesting. Obviously, if I'm going to write a song with someone, I'm usually in the room with them, but now you're kind of over these little screens. It's really a cool way. It's also cool because everyone that you're writing with over the screen is at their respective home or studio. So usually if you're writing a song with someone, you're in the room, everyone turns up and they're like, dressed and they're wearing clothes and they look kind of put together, whatever. Now everyone's on Zoom calls. People just rock up the songwriting session pants. They're like, what's up? I got up. Like, how's it going? I'm not wearing anything on the table. So, it's so weird. It's quite funny though. It's quite, comfortable.
It's hilarious. Well, I'm excited to hear the new stuff that you're working on. Hopefully live, but even if it's in a virtual setting, that'll be okay too. And I've enjoyed this little game show that we've put together. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I'm hoping you've heard some of that.
Of course, it's been my pleasure. And I heard some of it. I am excited for you to hear the new stuff that I've been writing too. And I really appreciate you having me on this call, even though the connection was kind of cranky. I've actually kind of enjoyed the guessing game of it. It was kind of cool.
It's been fun. It's absolutely been fun. I've enjoyed it.
I guess I'll see you at the next one.
Yes.
I guess I will see you. Hope when we can actually get to when we can actually say hi and hang out and play a show and stuff. I look forward to that very, very much. So
yes, we look
I guess we'll have to wait until then.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I can't wait. Thank you again. Be safe out there and keep writing.
Okay, cool. All right.